That's about a quarter. This doesn't feel like a cookie dough. I don't know what it feels like, but it feels strange. What's a fancy cookie I could whip up with a box of raisins and a box of cake mix? Betty Crocker's answer: filled lemon cookies. I'm Melinda, and I'm cooking my way through Betty Crocker's 1971 recipe card library. Today we are making filled lemon cookies, which is from section N, Favorite Family Desserts, card number 25. I found this card very visually intriguing. You know, you have these cookies that are square. You don't usually see a square cookie. Usually cookies are round, usually. And they have this beautiful scalloped edge. They have the X in the middle. They just look really fancy. And so I was like, okay, what's going on with these cookies? Once I dug a little deeper and realized that we're using lemon cake mix to make the cookies, I was like, wait a second, you can make cookies with cake mix? I didn't know this. Let's give it a try. I think that the filling that's made out of raisins is gonna be interesting. I feel like raisin and lemon, I've never really heard of that combination before, so we'll see how it tastes, but I'm excited, so let's get started. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and make the lemon cookie dough, which, can I just say how beautiful this is? Look how few ingredients I had to measure out. I love making cookies with cake mix. This is great. So we're starting with, in a mixer, beating some butter and cream cheese until light and fluffy. Now, you know I forgot to soften both the butter and the cream cheese ahead of time, so we'll see how this goes. She's strong and powerful, and she will cut through this not quite softened material perfectly fine. All right, rock and roll, baby. That seems light and fluffy to me. Is there still a big chunk of butter in there? Yes. I hope that he just kind of finds his way. He just kind of integrates. Beat in the egg and vanilla. 1 egg. 1/4 teaspoon vanilla. And then half of the cake mix. Okay, let's try this again. Oh, it's getting lemon colored, that's for sure. I'm excited about this dough. I think it'll create a cookie that's like very soft, like between the cake mix and this like cream cheese. I just think it'll be like a very fluffy kind of like soft crumbly cookie. And then when you have the raisin filling inside, I'm almost imagining like a Fig Newton vibe, you know what I mean? Like it's soft, right? That's what I'm expecting to happen. It smells very good. It smells very lemony. Okay. It says dough will be stiff, and it is. I think we're good to go. I think it's mixed. All right, so I'm gonna put this dough in the fridge. It's supposed to chill for a ½ hour, and in the meantime, we'll make the raisin filling. When you think cream cheese, you think Philadelphia. But did you know that this classic ingredient isn't native to the city of brotherly love? See, back in the 1800s, New Yorker William Lawrence was trying to develop his own brand of Neuchâtel cheese, a tangy soft cheese popular in Europe at the time. Instead, he accidentally added an excessive amount of cream to create a super spreadable product we now know as cream cheese. Lawrence started selling the cheese under the label Philadelphia, hoping that an association with Pennsylvania, known for their high-quality dairy farming, would trick customers into purchasing. Well, it worked, and the cheese became very popular, even more so when the company merged with Kraft Foods in 1928 and developed a pasteurized version of the product. Now first of its kind, this shelf-stable tangy cheese needed a marketing gimmick to match. In order to reach home bakers, Philadelphia cream cheese placed ads with recipes in women's magazines, including a recipe for Philadelphia cake, which, you know, just happened to call for 5½ packages of Philadelphia cream cheese in the batter. Soon, recipes emerged for all sorts of pies, cakes, frostings, and cookies using this stuff. So, let's see how our cookies with cream cheese turn out today. All right, so we're over at the stove to make the raisin filling, and to do that we have a little saucepan here. We're gonna combine a ½ cup of raisins, 2 tablespoons of water, and a 1/4 cup of apricot preserves. While I do think that the raisin lemon combo is a little strange, the apricot lemon combo makes sense to me. So maybe it'll all tie things together. So it says to simmer this for 5 minutes. Is all that? Simmer 5 minutes. I'm hopeful that the raisins will like cook down a bit. Maybe they're gonna like suck up the water. I don't know. I don't know what we're looking for here. It's really hard to tell what the filling looks like from this photo. But I'm presuming you don't want like a whole raisin. You want the raisin to kind of be broken down a bit so it's more of just like a goop. Yeah, I guess we'll cook this for 5 minutes and see what happens. All right, it's been about 5 minutes and I'm not really sure what happened here. It seems like most of the water evaporated off and the raisins have gotten like plumper. I can't see that they've really broken down. They're coated in apricot sugar now, so that's something. I guess this is done. I wish I had more instructions from Betty on what this is supposed to look like, but I don't. She just says simmer 5 minutes, and so I did. All right, well, there's our filling. It doesn't seem like a lot of filling. It's concerning to me. A ½ teaspoon of filling on each. How many does this make? 4 dozen? I don't know about that. She says to let it cool, so we'll see if it continues to change shape. And we'll go from there. All right, our cookie dough has been chilling and we've got our filling ready to go. So let's go ahead and start assembling, shall we? It says to roll about 1/4 of the dough at a time to 1/8 inch thickness on a lightly floured cloth covered board. So I'm assuming I put the flour on the cloth. So I'm doing that now. I haven't really done this procedure much. Ooh. I've done this when like rolling up a jelly roll. That's the only, with powdered sugar. I haven't really done this any other time, but we'll see how it goes. I will say that this dough is very sticky. I don't even know if I should touch it with my hands. That's about 1/4. A little bit of flour on that, a little bit of flour on that. This doesn't feel like a cookie dough. I don't know what it feels like, but it feels strange. Rolling. This is, I guess, how you're supposed to work with a sticky dough so it doesn't stick. It's the cloth covered board. This is going well. This is going better than it usually does. Okay, I want to be sure that I have 1/8 of an inch here. I think that's 1/8. I did it. I've never once measured. But this proves that my eye measuring skills are great. Okay, so I found this set of cookie cutters online that looks very similar to the photo. It has the scalloped edge. There's also kind of a straight edge if you wanted to use that. And it's a 1½ inch square cookie cutter. So we're gonna just cut as many as we can from here, and then we'll go from there. These are smaller than I thought they'd be, but I guess that's how we get to 4 dozen. I like the square because you're really able to use a lot of the dough without having a lot of in-between pieces. It's a much more efficient cookie shape. Why aren't all cookies square? How do we get to round as the default cookie shape? My plan is to assemble them in batches so while some are in the oven we could start cutting the rest. So I'm gonna go ahead and assemble the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cookies we have, and then we'll keep going. So what she says to do is place half the squares on an ungreased baking sheet. So we got 7 cookies, so I guess I'm gonna put them like this side down. Now I'm gonna let me just get a little teaspoon. I'm gonna take our raisin goo, which has gotten very sticky since it's cooled. And I guess I'm just gonna take, it said ½ teaspoon, which to me is like, I don't know, a little gloopy of 5 raisins maybe. These cookies feel too small to me. I'd be making them like twice as big, but I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm gonna kind of compare this to when I make pizza rolls, which is that I look in the oven and all the pizza rolls are exploded. All the goo is coming out. And I'm afraid that's what's gonna happen here. I'm afraid that I'm gonna put these in the oven, the goo is gonna fall out, it's not gonna look as cute as it does in the photo. And maybe that's why it's good to do like in batches so we can kind of learn and experiment what works. So now we're gonna put the remaining cookies on top, like this. Try to align the little things. They really are raviolis. Oh, I was supposed to cut an X in them before I put them on top. Cut an X. Cut an X. I'm nervous to cut an X in these before I place them. I can tell why we're working with a small quantity at a time. They are getting very soft the longer they're out of the fridge because it's all of that cream cheese in the dough. It's hard to handle them because you don't want to ruin the little scalloped edges. Yeah, I don't really know if there's a difference between putting the X on before or after. Seems the same to me. These are so delicate. This is not an easy cookie. The dough was really, I think, first of all, I'm so grateful that the dough was so easy to make because we're using the cake mix, because that's not where the effort goes. Usually making the dough is the hardest part of the cookie. Here, it's the assembly that's the hardest part. You're gonna make all these X's, you gotta lay them on top of each other. I'm gonna bake these as a test and we'll see how they come out and then keep going. So these are gonna go in the oven 375 for 10 minutes. All right, so my test batch is out of the oven and they actually look really good. The X's aren't going so well. I think I need to use a sharper knife to cut the X's. But otherwise, you know, they're getting a little brown around the edges. You can't really see the like scalloped edges much after they're baked, but I think that's okay. I think they still look pretty cute. So yeah, they are very soft. They're still very cakey. I think as they cool, they might harden a little bit, but I think it's gonna be a pretty cakey cookie. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep working on what I'm working on, making my little cookie raviolis, and once they're all done, we'll check back in. Our cookies are out of the oven and it's time to taste. I'm really excited. They, as expected, are very cake-like. They're very smushy, but not in like an unbaked way, in like a fluffy cake way. I am a little disappointed that the X's didn't turn out. I found it really hard to cut the X's because the dough is very sticky. So you would drag your knife through to make the X and like it would drag the dough off of the cookie up with it. And so the X's don't look great, but it's fine. It's rustic. So yeah, I think they're gonna be pretty good, right? Let's give them a taste. That's cake. The lemon flavor is great, subtle. The raisin is good, it's sweet. It's nice to have like a dense, chewy thing within the fluffy cake thing. They're small enough, you can have more than one. Very strange consistency for a cookie. Yeah, I like this. They're like, you know, they're bright, they're fresh, citrusy, not too sweet. Pillowy is a good word. Very pillowy. Yummy, yummy. Filled lemon cookies. These were pretty good, right? They are so different. They are so different in texture than any other cookie I've really had. I think the most similar thing I could say that they're like is maybe like a black and white cookie, if you've had one of those in New York before, because it's so fluffy and cake-like. But these are even more fluffy and cake-like. It's strange. I'm sure that cream cheese had something to do with it, the way we kind of like whip the cream cheese in the butter, but yeah, it's just a very different texture of cookie than I'm used to. The flavor is great. I love the lemon, I love the raisin. At the end of the day, they don't look as cute as the photo. I had a really hard time cutting the X's in them. And I went through the extra effort of getting the like scalloped edge cookie cutter, and like you can't really tell that they have scalloped edges. It's just not as crisp of a cookie as the ones in the photo. But yeah, I think overall, like pretty cute, pretty tasty. It was a lot of work working with that dough. That dough is very sticky. I almost wonder if like the amount of powdered mix in a cake mix today is different than back in the 70s when this was written. And so maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe it shouldn't have been that sticky of a dough, but it was really hard to work with. So while I like was able to, you know, save some time by not having to measure all the dry ingredients out, I did end up with a very sticky dough. So I don't know. Overall, I think pretty good. Not the best cookie I've ever had, but pretty fun. So I'm gonna give it 4 out of 5 red spoons. back in the box. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, I have another lemony dessert treat, so go over and watch lemon chiffon cake next. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you aren't already, and until next time, happy homemaking.